Hello everybody, Voidza here, and I welcome you to the Void. Today we'll cover a wonderful story about letting yourself go and letting yourself slip through the static. Please enjoy Static Dreams. Have you ever gone through a normal day, longing for something new, something exciting, a change? Have you ever felt yourself slip through the sands of time, wasting away? Sometimes we begin to wonder if hell itself is more of a paradise than being alive. He had finally gotten home from work today. By the time he was off, it was at least past 9. Stepping into his house through the front door, he looked at his surroundings. There were old family pictures on the walls, a torn-up couch, and an old boom-tube television screen that sat at the other end of the room. As he threw off his coat and sat down in the chair, the only light in the room that he could see was from the static on the TV. He sat there for a moment, with his mind wandering back to the past, an impulsive habit that made him hate his existence even more than he needed to. He stared into the screen as the static reached out to him, promising him happiness, promising salvation. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't fight it off anymore. He let the static wrap around him and pull him into an infinite sea of black and white. He found himself standing in the middle of it all, particles of black and white floating above the foggy ground. He trudged through the thick sea of static and awed his surroundings. He stopped when he saw a magnificent lighthouse in the distance. The ginormous structure was shining a black and white light out of its top in opposite directions. The light was spinning at a calm speed, shrouding the sea in its light and in its dark. He cautiously approached the lighthouse, wading through the black and wading through the white that obscured his vision. He walked up to the door, reaching out to it, and as the tip of his fingers touched the door, it evaporated into tiny black particles and dissipated. He entered through the door frame and saw a spiral staircase that was a lighter shade of black. He walked up to them and put his foot down on the first step, startling him as the step lit up and shone into the void of black above him. Step after step, he scaled the massive tower, reaching the top of the structure, and walked up to the window. Setting his eyes upon the vast sea of static, he stood there with the light spinning behind him, casting his shadow across the sea occasionally. He felt a multitude of feelings welling up inside of him: regret, sadness, frustration. As he was feeling these things, the black and white particles started to fill up with a variety of colors and rose to the sky. The particles began to spin around the lighthouse at a rapid speed. The light behind him began to spin faster and faster, making his shadow flash across the tornado of particles. As everything grew even more and more unstable, reality began to tear itself apart, ripping a huge hole into the sky that bled out a blinding white light. He trembled and fell onto his knees, unable to fully comprehend the madness around him. He closed his eyes and grasped the floor, which seemed to mold into his hands like putty. The ground beneath him started to shake and crumble around him, only leaving a big enough surface to hold him. The white light from the tear extended over and around him, shutting everything in a blinding bright light. After that, all the lights shut off abruptly, leaving him in complete darkness. There was only a few lights left in front of him, particles from earlier floating around him softly. But then, they shut off too. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time in the void, my friends.